The Tennessee Volunteers and the Clemson Tigers, two of the best teams that college football has to offer, going against each other in the Orange Bowl coming up on December 30th. Of course, we know Clemson, they've been established, been a great program since the college football playoffs have been around, and even before that. And Tennessee's really exploded onto the scene this year, really made a name for themselves as far as one of the best programs in college football. But as far as this season goes, starting with Clemson, they didn't reach the expectations that, of course, the fans and the program had set, 2 losses this year. For any other team, that's a great season. But for Clemson, it is a little bit of a disappointment, losing a tough game to Notre Dame. And then, of course, the ugly one to South Carolina that Tennessee fans know all too well about. And then on the other side, Tennessee, like I said, really exploding onto the scene, beat Alabama, a couple big wins for the program, but, in the same breath, a couple big-time losses that shouldn't have happened. So, Drew, starting with Clemson first, DJ Uiagalelei throughout the whole season has basically been holding this Clemson team back from their true potential. And, I never was a hater of the guy or anything, but I'm just being honest. His film was not up to par. Decision-making definitely, in my opinion, was one of his biggest vices that he had. But bringing in this Klubnik guy, or however you say his last name, 5-star, number 1 quarterback coming out of high school, he comes in and the team just looks like they got it shot up with a spark of life, a completely different team. So whenever you see this guy coming in, what are the main things that you saw that changed with this Clemson team?
Well, he just looks like a better quarterback. I mean, I don't know how much simpler I can put it. I mean, the dude just looks more comfortable. He looks more confident. I think the confidence is the number one thing that probably separates him and DJ Ukulele. And we even made videos on DJ Ukulele, and that's what I'm going to call him. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce his last name. So for purposes of this video, that's what I'm calling him. We were making videos on this guy and this Clemson team before the season really even kicked off. I mean, we knew that Clemson was going to be held back if this guy was starting at quarterback for him. Everyone knew it. Everyone knew it except for Dabo Swinney. What do you know? Once DJ goes out, Cade Klubnik goes in, this Clemson team, like you said, gets a spark. The offense is moving up and down the field, and it looks like they haven't missed a beat. They look like an old Clemson team back from the 2018-2019 days against North Carolina. With that being said, of course, North Carolina's not a great team, but Clemson plays a lot of non-great teams during their season. They struggled in a lot of those games, but I think that was a big win that they needed against North Carolina. And then on the other side, you got the Tennessee Volunteers, a team that really kind of fell apart a little bit towards the end of the season with really the loss against South Carolina. I can't really say fall apart. I think that's a little too harsh of a word. But they did get a very dominating win over a Vanderbilt team that was actually pretty hot towards the end of the season, regardless of the team name. Vanderbilt did put together a couple of wins, and Tennessee went and handled business. So I think that was a win they definitely needed after that South Carolina game. So, Aiden, both these teams are very similar in the way they kind of finished the regular season. Still a great record, still great wins nonetheless. But looking at the other side here, looking at your Tennessee Volunteers, opt-outs, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, and then obviously no Hendon Hooker. I mean, a completely different offense you're going to be seeing. I mean, when you take your star players out, it's just almost impossible to replicate the production that those guys were giving you. So when you look at this game, where do you think Tennessee's offense is going to have to come from to be able to put up points to keep up with this Clemson offense?
Like always with the Tennessee offense, it's going to start with the run game, contrary to popular belief for a lot of guys who aren't too familiar with Tennessee and how they go about, putting points on the board. But they start with running the football straight up the middle. So it's going to start with Jabari Smalls and our second running back, Wright, who I believe is better than Jabari Smalls. But it's going to start with them two. And then Joe Milton is going to be an extension of the run game, our backup quarterback. And, as far as you talking about production and the lack thereof whenever you lose your star guys. Remember, Cedric Tillman, nobody knew who Jalen Hyatt was before Cedric Tillman got hurt. It was only when that opportunity arose where Jalen Hyatt stepped in and filled those shoes. And, I think it's going to be a similar situation with the system that we have. It's not so much necessarily can you get open. It's just, do your job. Like Jalen Hyatt so many times was wide-ass open, running 30, 40 yards down the field. And then whenever you talk about the opt-outs, as far as Cedric Tillman opting out, that doesn't bother me. He had an ankle injury that was bothering him the whole season. He's been a part of a centerpiece of this Tennessee program, a leader for this Tennessee program through, ample coaching changes, much adversity that this program's gone through. So him opting out, he's just trying to get right. He's just trying to get his ankle right for the NFL draft. Jalen Hyatt, on the other hand, I do feel a little indifferent about that because, why are you sitting out, man? Do you not like to compete? But that's just me. I've always been a competitor. But for Clemson and Cade Klubnik and their offense, whenever he came in against North Carolina, Clemson was doing everything they could to get the ball out of his hands quick. Now, he would take a shot play every now and then, but for the most part, Clemson was moving the pocket, getting him outside the pocket on rollouts and sprint outs, getting the ball out of his hand quick, throwing screens, shovel passes, triple options where the swing is just a 5-yard pass to the flats. Nothing crazy. They just wanted him to be as comfortable as he could. And the biggest difference I saw with this Clemson offense was really just the energy in the players once DJ Ukulele got taken out. I'm sorry, guys. I got a terrible cold. Once DJ Ukulele got taken out, I just saw the energy of all the players rise. They even talked about it on the broadcast. Even the Clemson defensive players were going around hyped up, smiling because they finally have a quarterback that can put points on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, again, what we were saying at the beginning of the season when we were making the Clemson video. This Clemson team is still a top program in all of college football. I don't think there's anyone that was really doubting that. The talent's definitely there, and I still think Dabo Swinney's a really good coach. Obviously, I have a lot of questions about how he handled that quarterback situation, but then again, he's not the only coach that's considered great that's had quarterback blunders and quarterback personnel mistakes. I mean, look at Kirby Smart. There's been multiple years where Kirby Smart's been kind of questioned about how he manages quarterbacks, but once you get a good quarterback in there, you really do see the true talent of the team. But as far as this game goes, Tennessee can't find themselves in a situation where their secondary is just getting sliced up. I mean, I think that's obvious. I think everyone knows that. Obviously, if Tennessee does what they did against South Carolina, they're going to lose, and the game won't even be close. I do want to give Tennessee a little bit credit for the shutout of Vanderbilt. Regardless, like I said earlier, of the team name, it's hard to shut anybody out in college football, regardless of who they're playing and regardless of the talent difference. To get a shutout's impressive, and I think a shutout was necessary for Tennessee to get the confidence needed to be able to get some stops. And Clemson, they have a lot of offensive talent, and the stats might not dictate that because of what DJ was doing to this Clemson offense and holding them back. But Clemson is now really capable of putting up points and doing so through the air as well. I mean, everyone knows their run game with Will Shipley and Phil Maffa. I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry if I butchered his name. They have a very good run game as well. So when I'm looking at this game and I'm looking at points, I think Tennessee's offense is going to be okay. I think Tennessee's offense is still capable of putting up points. I think they're still going to be able to run the ball regardless. I know Clemson's strength on defense is primarily that front seven. And then looking at the opt-outs, obviously you have Hyatt and Tillman. We've already talked about those. I think Tennessee would have been just fine if it was just Tillman, but I think Hyatt opting out too is kind of a really big loss for Tennessee. I know that it's always a next man up mentality there now, and I know the system kind of favors that as well and gives the wide receivers opportunities to make name for themselves regardless of what they've done in past games. So there's no question or no doubt that Tennessee wide receiver could step up and kind of fill those shoes. Joe Milton's my number one concern, though, and I don't think there's anyone that can really question me on that. Everyone knows the arm power he has. Everyone knows how far he can throw a football. He's got to be able to throw the ball far and accurate, though. That accuracy thing has just always been one of his biggest knocks, overthrowing a lot of wide open touchdowns. He did it again against Vanderbilt. If there's a scenario where Joe Milton can find the touch, he can find the accuracy when throwing these deep balls, I think Tennessee has the chance to win this game. But this is a preview and prediction, and trying to predict that is almost impossible. You don't know what kind of Joe Milton you're going to get. We've seen Joe Milton in garbage time in a lot of games this year have that touch and have that accuracy, and he looks like a really, really good quarterback. And then obviously we've seen times where he's had a lot of missed throws and some big missed throws that could have led to touchdowns. And like I said, I just don't know how you can predict that. I think more times than not, you get a Joe Milton that overthrows a lot of passes. And I think if they do that and Tennessee misses out on some opportunities, primarily with the overthrows, I think Tennessee is going to struggle to find ways to win this game. I think they got to be able to capitalize on all opportunities that they get. I think Clemson right now with the quarterback they have with Cade Klubnik, I think the confidence is high. They had a really good win in a conference championship. Tennessee is going to have to be the Tennessee that we know, and that is putting up points if they want to have a chance in this game. Clemson 6.5-point favorites. I think Clemson's going to get Tennessee. Like I said, that Hyatt loss, and then I just can't trust Milton enough to really take Tennessee to win this game. And I think Clemson's just right now just the better team. They're in better standing. I know this is a little long-winded, but I'm taking Clemson in the points.
Yeah, Clemson in their first 5-6 games when they were winning the turnover margin looked like a top 4 team, looked like a playoff contending team. And then the last 5-6 games, 7 games with Ukulele turning the ball over so much. The last 5 games, Clemson was negative in the turnover margin. So that was a big hindrance on their performance and, how they look to the playoff committee. But whenever I look at this Klubnik guy, look, it's one game, okay? And the North Carolina had no film on this guy. They have no idea what's going on. And North Carolina, 2 of their DBs, their 2 starting corners were out. And North Carolina shot themselves in the foot that first half, 3 turnovers, and took themselves out of the game. So I'm looking at this Clemson team, and they're all right. All right, like they drop 8 in coverage consistently, and there's holes in the zones. Like, so you just came on here with my Tennessee Volunteers and just bashed Joe Milton for like 3 minutes. And I just had to sit there and listen to it. So I was honestly leaning towards taking Clemson, even though 6.5 points is a lot. But I ain't going to take that, not on this channel. And I'm sure that the majority of the public's on Clemson too. So, just go ahead and give me Tennessee. Go Vols, baby. We're going to see who the real MF and Orange team is. And it's going to be the Tennessee Volunteers. Nobody gives a crap about that vomit-looking Clemson Tiger orange. Vols are going to run over the Clemson Tigers, man. And now I know for a fact, because I got a feeling Joe Milton's about to go off. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 INTs. It's going to be a good game for the Vols.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. If you enjoyed the video, as always, please leave a thumbs up and hit the subscribe and the notification bell. We have been growing exponentially over the past week or so, especially after we posted the Chick-fil-A preview and prediction video, and we can't thank you guys enough. For a lot of you guys that are new here, we really do appreciate you guys hitting the subscribe button and sticking around for this bowl season, and we're looking forward to getting more videos out for you guys. Leave down below in the comments what you guys think is going to happen in this game, and look at some key matchups. What are some key matchups that we didn't talk about in this game? What are some opt-outs that we might have not talked? All that good stuff. Just leave that down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.